What's this? 2 uploads in one day? I must be a fucking madman or desperate for content. One of the two. Scoot back a bit. Hey everybody, it's your boy Morphe, and I'm going to be going ahead and doing my third video on homebrew rules that really add a little oomph to my campaigns and also allow for a lot more fun and flexibility with my characters, allows my campaigns to run smoother, in my opinion. A little more smooth brain, you know? So let's go ahead, get past this intro, and we'll get started. Part 3 of homebrew rules that get my campaign running smoothly. This one is definitely more so on the aspect of, like, I've seen people do it, but not a lot of people do it. And I've seen some people do it for some players, but not all players. And I prefer that if I'm going to do something like a custom rule set for one player, it's applicable to everyone, whether everybody uses it or not. But essentially, custom feats slash items. Let's be real, this varies from really easy to do to overly so complex and I need a week to prep. Because players may want a custom item or feat that pre-exists. Basically, in D&D, certain races or classes may get an item to begin with, variant human being the one that comes off the top of my head. But I go, fuck it. Everyone can get one item or one feat, and it can be out of the books, or it can be something we work together to create. For instance, one of my players wanted the alarm feat, and I gave it to him. Another player, my wife, when she played a character, Fee, wanted something that would raise her AC. So I created a custom feat that loosely was the Trickster's Blessing, and it was these 2 mirrors that are floating around her at all times. They're invisible to the naked eye unless you roll really high on perception, and they give her... Go ahead and mute my phone. And they give her a +1 to her AC. Essentially, those mirrors will fly around and deflect attacks, and people will be confused about it. And it was tied into her origins as the child of a trickster god and a trickster goddess. It was really well done. I like to think so because it gave my player exactly what they wanted without too much, while also having a bit of flavor text to it that tied in with the player. Again, these range from really easy to do, just pluck a few feats from the book, everybody can have one, or pluck an item from the book, rare or less, common or less, and you just go from there. And I love this rule. I really do. I love this rule. At the beginning of my campaigns, I ask the players to have an idea for a feat or item they want to add to their level 1 character. If they can't find one, I work with the players to create a custom feat or item. This allows for player characters to have a bit more individualism and originality. You do need to take into account, however, the level of the item or complexity of the feat being added, so as to make balancing the game as smooth as possible. Again, I really like this. I think that it has a lot of flexibility, and with the idea that being a new DM, if you still want to give your players a custom feat or item, you can. You don't have to make it from scratch. I like to do that because I take feats, I tweak them specifically to the character and players that are using them. But you don't have to. This is actually a really easy thing to do, because what it does is it also encourages people to pay attention to spell lists and feats and things again, to read their character and get used to reading what things do. Because we all know that in later parts of the game, even after 3rd and 4th level, for a lot of classes, there's just text walls. You have to scroll through, and you're going to have to memorize what each thing can do. And by giving them a feat up front or an item up front that they have to read and memorize, you're teaching the players, hey, there's a little bit of study that goes into playing these games. And it's not like... It's not necessarily going to be like super hard. It could just be you gain a +1 to this stat, and you have advantage on these rolls. You know, there are feats that are that simple. But I just try my best to make sure my players understand, and that each rule I add or modify makes it so that later down the line things are simpler for my players. But what do you guys think? This one was a fairly short video. I didn't even start my timer. I completely forgot about that. But let me know what you guys think about this feat idea and these items, and what items or feats would you like to have for your characters? That's something that would actually be really cool. Whether it's pre-existing or brand new, something you've made up, what is something you would want to add to your character at level 1 that you think would add to the flavor of that character? Hit me up. Let me know.